Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
And we get DMCA'd. Hi, everybody.
We can't get DMCA'd on an audio podcast, can we?
I'm not.
Wouldn't,
probably. And I'm not. I don't want to.
If I'm, it's if I play the song. If I'm singing the song, that's a cover.
Jonathan, but here's the issue: is that you're so talented and you're so good at singing, they're gonna think it's the original recording.
Hey, don't butter me up. We're already here. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
I'm John.
I'm Kendra.
Welcome back to another edition of
Ringside.
And listen, I didn't know if you knew this, Kendra. Mm-hmm. It's been almost a month since we've done like an actual episode of Ringside.
Yeah, I've been having I just feel like I have so much more free time lately. I knew something was up.
Yeah, so it was because well, we did the pre-preview, but that's not like an episode of this. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's back to school season, y'all.
It's been very busy over here.
I've been running around like a madman. Mm-hmm. Just getting ready for the school year. School year started. We're up and running, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So
first week over.
First week's in the can, right? We had 5 days in. We are 5 days in. Sorry, I can't talk. You can tell you can still tell I'm tired. 5 days in, 175 days to go.
That's not bad at all. That's easy work, light work. You got it.
Work.
Oh,
you hear my fucking shoulder crack.
Not so light work on the joints.
Yeah, I got some more mobility things I got to do.
Yeah, but we're very proud of Jonathan for completing his first week of his second year of teaching elementary school.
Yeah, it's been crazy, but it's been fun. It's been great to be back, and I don't want to talk too much about it, and just in case on the off chance someone comes and listens to this. Anyway, but I am. It's been a busy week or a busy couple of weeks, mm-hmm. but I'm happy to be back here and recording this. So, lots to catch up on in the last month.
Yes.
So I just say let's hop right into it. What do you say, Kendra? Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Perfect. I feel like we've done that before.
We probably have.
I gotta see if I can find that clip somewhere.
I might have like blue skidooed into it. That's a bit more.
Yeah, that's more you.
Takes more effort.
Yeah.
To blue skidoo into something.
We can do. All right, awesome. Well, I feel like it's because it's still incredibly popular right now. People are still talking about it, and it's been almost a month since this movie came out. Almost. Yeah, I think we're about a week out from it being a month in theaters. Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's just talk about it.
Sure.
And if you are one of like the 3 people that hasn't seen this movie yet, we're gonna go spoilers in. Again, the movie came out nearly a month ago, so I think we're well beyond the point
safe.
Of spoiler warnings. But just in case, we are gonna talk spoilers. So come back in like however long. I don't know.
Figure it out. Sorry.
Figure it out. Feel it out. Anyway, so let's talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay. It is the first ever R-rated feature film coming out of the Marvel Studios brand. It's also the only major MCU film release this year. Mm-hmm. We've had several shows and side projects come out, but as far as movies go, this is the only one for this year.
Good. Smart.
I love
Cutesy. Demure.
One movie for the year that's very cutesy, very mindful.
Very demure.
Yes. Good job, Kevin. Cutesy Kevin. Sorry, that I don't know. We're not on a first name basis.
No.
But anyway, let's talk about Marvel
you,
Jesus.
He's not even on a last name basis with you, my guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't know you exist.
I would have to go through the chain of. I talk to the caterer if I get into the building.
Yeah. Then
the caterer talks to his manager. The manager talks to the production assistant. The production assistant talks to the assistant to the assistant. Then they go to Mr. Feige's assistant. Then to Mr. Feige.
I feel like we skipped a lot of the hierarchy there.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the caterer was your first point of entry into that.
I try to think of like the most down to earth person I could get in contact with. They're still like leagues above me, but
if I really wanted to get into contact with Kevin Feige, which I don't, live your life, you're fine. You don't need me yapping your ear off. But if I were, my first plan of action, and this might seem quite intense to some people, I would aim to get hit by his car. And then maybe talk to his chauffeur Or him, if he feels bad enough, he gets out of the car. And when I say get hit by a car, I mean like a light tap, not anything crazy. I have to be alert enough afterwards to say, oh my gosh, no, I'm okay. Sorry for the inconvenience, Mr. Feige. So, about mutants in the MCU. And then that's my key in.
Interesting. So, you're in this scenario where you're tapped by his car. There's not like a conversation of like, oh man, let's settle this out of court, or like...
Well, that will come later. I will sue him for all that he's worth. But first, before I create bad blood with the court filings, I'll go in and discuss what I want to discuss.
Don't you love me?
Huh?
I said, don't you love me? Wouldn't you use this moment to be like, ah, man, my ribs, they're puncturing my lungs. Listen, my boyfriend's an actor. If you could maybe put him in one of your projects, and then he can pay for my hospital bills. Sorry
that we are getting quite off topic here, but would I rather pitch you for a job to Kevin Feige after he hits me with his car? Or would I rather have 2-3 million American dollars?
But listen,
I'm so sorry, John. The answer's obvious.
He's going to fight to not give you those American
I'm going to ask for 30, and he's going to settle for 3. John, I've already thought all this through.
I mean...
And then we invest that money, and we become billionaires.
Oh.
And when our great-great-great-grandchildren talk about how they come from old money, they can say, yes, my great-great-great-grandmother got hit by Kevin Feige on the streets of probably New York. I don't know. I'll have to figure that one out. Los Angeles?
Interesting. I still think I could have fit in somewhere in this plan, but whatever.
I guess you can have some of the money. I'll give you an allowance weekly, $20.
$20.
It's your gas stipend.
20 smackaroos. Anyway, way off topic.
We talked about that for a while.
I know. So Deadpool and Wolverine, like we said, first R-rated foray for Marvel Studios, and I say we just go right into like our general overviews.
Sure.
I love this movie. I really love this movie. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was fun. I think it was the movie Marvel needed to release, and I feel like this is just not even just a Marvel movie, not a superhero movie. I think this is just a movie that movie audiences needed.
I agree. It definitely felt like a revitalization of something that a lot of people do consider to be a dying form, the movie theater.
Right.
I liked the movie. Okay. I feel like every time I talk after you, I feel like a Debbie Downer, because John really, really loves a lot of stuff.
I'm like a dog.
Like a dog. I liked Deadpool and Wolverine. When I'm seated for a Deadpool movie, I'm not, even though now it is connected to this greater multiversal thing, I'm not coming in it with like, they better not have any plot holes.
Right.
Everything explained in this movie needs to exactly match everything explained in the previous MCU movies. I'm looking for like this cameo to set up this next.
Right.
Like, I don't, not for a Deadpool movie.
Right.
I'm there to have a good fun time. And it was a good fun time.
Right.
I love the cameos. It kind of felt like, I mean, if you know me, you know my favorite premium live event is Royal Rumble, and it kind of felt like a Royal Rumble Deadpool movie. I thought it was great. I didn't think it was better than the first Deadpool movie. Very few things are better than the first Deadpool movie. But I did like how they managed to have this multiversal story, but still make it feel like contained and grounded. And that's partly why I'm not too concerned about like the implications for the rest of the MCU, because like when that 2 hours I'm watching the movie, I don't really care about that. It was really funny. There were some times, like in every Deadpool movie, where I'm like, this humor feels forced. I also feel like we're really coming up on the tail end of Deadpool humor. Deadpool 1 humor being still funny. Like, I feel like we're coming up to that end point. Where they'll have to kind of evolve with changing humor. That's anything, though. That's anything. Like 2008 comedy movies were the funniest things to ever come out in 2008, and they're funny now because we have that nostalgia. But if a 2008 comedy movie came out now, we'd be like, this is ass. This isn't funny at all. So that's just kind of how I felt with some of the humor in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like, I feel like we're at the tail end of this.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. You know what I love? Even when I joke around on the podcast, because, like, yeah, even if I have, and which I do, there's some stuff that, you know, we can talk about that we didn't like with the movie or didn't like as much as other parts of the movie. But it's not an all or nothing thing with us here. And especially with Kendra, like, we can criticize something, and she's really good about pointing out those criticisms, but not it being like a deterrent for like, oh, well, I loved this, and this, and I loved 99% of the movie, but because it didn't do this one thing, the movie was ass, and I'm going to have to give it a 2.5 out of 10. Yeah. Like, that metric doesn't make sense.
If I or you or anybody judged anything that's made to be a form of entertainment by that, they would never enjoy anything. And a lot of people don't ever enjoy anything.
Right.
So you're doing yourself a disservice. So yeah, they were like, I liked the majority of it. I'll rewatch it. I wanted to see it again in theaters.
Yeah.
I told my friends to go see it. People asked, like, is it worth it? And I was like, my one friend, I don't think she ever saw the second one. So I was like, go see it on a Tuesday when the tickets are cheap. Like, yes, then it's worth it. See it in a matinee. Yes, it's worth it. But I'm also not going to sit here and say, like, oh, it was the best movie I've ever seen in my life, and it was better than every other Deadpool movie, because it wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, I think it holds a solid place up there with just, like, it being a good superhero movie. And I've liked all the Deadpool movies. So Deadpool 1 is like lightning in a bottle. Like, that was a movie that some would say was never supposed to happen. So the fact that we even got it and
was crazy. The fact that it was good was crazy.
And the longer that movie sits and the more we learn about it, the more we appreciate it. So, like, when you hear Ryan Reynolds was like, I didn't get paid because everything I was paid, I gave to my writers because they weren't going to pay to have my writers on set with me. Because once you reach a certain level of stardom, fame, and just when you're a producer, when you're an executive producer and a writer yourself, you're going to want people who understand your brand and your type. So he had his own writers and wanted them on set in case they wanted to, because they were basically making this fucking movie on the fly, right? So the more you learn about that, the more you realize why the movie feels special, you know? So I think that movie is a lightning in a bottle. What I will say, even if, you know, we won't consider it as good as whatever, I sort of get that same feeling of it being this movie being really special, but for different reasons. And part of what I liked about it's interesting you brought up, like, the humor, kind of that brand of humor sort of dying off, because I feel like the meta-ness of this particular movie lines up really well with, like, the actual in-movie storyline, which is, like, kind of Deadpool and Wolverine both struggling with different versions of, like, where do I fit in, right? Like, Wade, you know, he's kind of coasting, right? He doesn't have Vanessa anymore. All he has are his friends, but he's kind of feeling lost in the sauce, right? He can't join the X-Men. He can't join the Avengers.
Damn.
He lost his girl, right? Wolverine has no one. He lost everything, right? And no one wants him around. So it's really interesting, and I think that makes a very interesting commentary for, like, this day and age of superhero movies when everything's connected and, you know, geared toward this and geared toward that. This lightning in a bottle character that is Deadpool, who's, you know, foul-mouthed and violent and all this under this Disney umbrella. Like, where do I fit in? And trying to, like, including this character that everyone pretty much agrees had a perfect send-off, bringing him back, like, trying to, like, live up to those expectations while also not trying to live up to those expectations. So I just thought it was a really, really interesting concept for a movie that could be, and is by some people, very few people, a lot of people are overwhelmingly, like, all for this movie because it's fun. But I feel like some people could look at it and just be like, oh, it's just gratuitous, like, cameos and this and that, whatever. And okay, that's fine. But I do think it makes for an interesting story because they eventually, like, it's cool how this movie's connected to Loki, both in the canon of the MCU, but also sort of spiritually, because you could say these two characters are kind of looking for their own glorious purpose. And I don't know, I really, really like that. Like, it was about, like, acceptance, friendship, finding your family, finding your purpose. And I wasn't expecting that from this movie. I was expecting, like, a buddy cop movie, which we did get.
Yeah.
It was very much that. But I don't know. I just feel like this movie touched on a slightly deeper level than I thought it was going to, which it's interesting that each of the Deadpool movies have done that in its own way. And I think that goes to show, like, the first movie was like a love story. The second was like a family film. And this one was kind of finding yourself, sort of almost like a coming of age story, buddy cop story. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it.
Coming of age at 40.
Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but
no, I think that's all very valid.
I also loved there are so very few people that are as perfectly cast in a role as Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Mm-hmm. And part of that is coming from a place of nostalgia, because, you know, he's been Wolverine almost as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
Which is weird to think about. And that's the case for a lot of people, right? So it was cool seeing him back. And you know why I think it works? I think it works because Wolverine, because Hugh Jackman was in on a lot of those jokes, like, about Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Like, we could have treated this Wolverine with the same, like, gravitas as we saw in Logan, right? Logan, that Wolverine would not have fit with this. Completely different, like, tonally, fundamentally a different type of character, a different type of movie, right? But I just feel like because Hugh Jackman was so game to do the short Wolverine, right? Like, mm-hmm. the comic accurate, and do all the different iterations. And, like, I don't know, we could have really dropped the ball with bringing him back, but kind of having a new version of Wolverine within, like, the multiverse. And the fact that he was so game to do all of that, I think really makes it work here.
I agree.
But that's kind of my opinion on Hugh Jackman returning. I love that he returned. I don't know I'd love to see him as Wolverine again, but, you know, anytime we get him, I'll take it. And if it's the last one, I'll take it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most people would agree that Logan was, like you said, the perfect send-off for that character. And I know a lot of people were saying just because in Deadpool and Wolverine, they did desecrate Logan's burial site and used his body as a weapon, multiple weapons. Perhaps that could be seen as negatively changing the emotional tie to his death from Logan. I, however, do think that they kept their promise to not mess with that at all, because he stayed dead. The first few minutes I was like, oh shit, they're bringing him back. They just flat lied to our faces. They're bringing him back. But no, that wasn't the case. So I was very happy to see that. And I am of the belief, similar to, like, remakes and casting choices that are perhaps different from the original casting choices made and stuff like that, you can always go back. You don't have to watch whatever new thing's coming out. And the old version of that thing will always be there for you to return to. So I don't really prescribe to the idea that, like, what we're doing here now ruins all that stuff we did all these years ago.
Right.
I don't believe that. So, yeah. So, anyway, that was my opinion on them bringing back Wolverine. And I know it's like, it has to be hard on Hugh Jackman physically to be the Wolverine over and over and over again for 30 fucking years. But, I don't know. It's kind of like Tom Hiddleston. Like, there's this enjoyment. Sorry, I have a hair thing on, but it's bringing me comfort, so it will stay. Thank you. It's kind of like Tom Hiddleston, where it's like, they love being that character.
Right.
They love it. So if he should do it until he doesn't love it anymore.
Right. I agree.
So,
and
yeah.
I don't think he would. I mean, again, they made this joke in the movie. I'm sure the Marvel bag doesn't hurt. But no, I really don't think if he didn't want to, he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
You know? Because he's done nearly everything. But then we get to what half the promotion of this movie was finally seeing Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the iconic yellow and blue costume.
Yeah.
And the first time they fought, Deadpool and Wolverine fought, was in the Void. I got a little teary-eyed.
I remember.
I got and it was purely because I felt like a little kid, and it was just seeing Wolverine do his nasty little crawl,
gross.
And toward the end of the movie when he goes berserker on all the Deadpool core, it was just oh man, I remember I had a visceral memory of playing with the when the X-Men animated series was out. They had the toy Wolverine claws, and they made sound effects and stuff. My brother and I had those, and I remember playing with those. And when the batteries were dead, we would make the sounds ourselves, bing, bing, bing. So it was really cool as an adult to see that. And again, this is the Wolverine I grew up with. So when you mention Wolverine, some people might go straight to the X-Men animated series, or some from the video games, but my brain kind of goes to Hugh Jackman a lot of the time, so it was really cool to see that. And the fight scenes go without saying,
all the action. Okay, that's the one thing where I'm the action in this one, I think I would have to rewatch all of the other Deadpools, but it was top tier. It was so good.
And I think that it goes hand in hand with something that some people might complain about, even though the movie kind of let you know. I think the trailers did a good job of letting you know what you were getting into, because it's Deadpool playing with all the toys of Marvel. But I think the cameos actually helped in this case, because it wasn't just, you had some heartfelt cameos like Happy Hogan, which was great to see Jon Favreau back. And I didn't even think about this as we were watching it until I saw Ryan Reynolds post about it on Instagram, where he was really giving Jon Favreau his flowers, just saying the MCU as we know it wouldn't exist without him, because he directed the first few Iron Man. And I was I didn't even think about how big of a cameo that is if you're thinking of it in
that context, and not just as the actor,
right? As what we would call just a comedic character at this point, right? So I was oh, that's really cool to think about. But anyway, let's talk about the cameos we all want to talk about. I completely forgot. They announced this months and last year that Jennifer Garner was going to be back as Elektra, and they, toward the very last trailer, they announced that Daphne Keane was returning as Laura and X-23. Outside of that, I don't remember what other casting announcements we heard from that, but they kept everything under wraps really, really well.
For good reason.
Because once we saw Chris Evans as Johnny Storm.
That was a good one. I remember people speculating that we were going to get that.
Right. We saw a bunch of the villains from the old X-Men movies, and those we saw in the trailer.
Yeah.
Right. But I think where we were holy shit, two holy shit moments back to back, when we saw Blade walk in, Wesley Snipes in the fucking flesh.
Damn.
These were to the point where Kendra was freaking out how I normally would freak out in a movie theater. Just
who would have thunk? That was the one where I was I didn't even hear anyone speculate that we were going to get that, because they hated each other allegedly. Yeah. The other one, the day before I heard people speculating, the day before it was premiered, released, I heard people speculating about Gambit. But Wesley Snipes?
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
For those who don't know, Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds actually worked together years and years ago on the very last Blade movie, Blade Trinity. And at this point, Wesley Snipes was going through something. So apparently he was kind of a nightmare to work with. He also, because he was a bit of a diva, and this isn't me saying this. This is just information that's out there. But again, I keep in mind he was not well at this point, he felt like his screen time was cut because of Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel, I think it was in that movie. And he apparently was such a pain to work with that at one point there's a scene in the movie where he is lying down on a table of some sort, maybe a medical table, and while filming he refused to open his eyes.
Okay.
They put in CGI eyes
oh my God.
To open up, and it looks so fucking weird. Anyway, but they did not get along. They didn't work well together because of that. So Wesley Snipes was I got a text from Ryan Reynolds So he kind of extended that olive branch there and was like, I really want Blade in this movie. And Wesley Snipes has always been passionate about Blade. So I'm like, holy shit, I love Blade. That's one of my, like, I love that character. So that was already, like, crazy enough. But then to also get, we see that floating card come in, and it's Channing Tatum as Gambit.
Yeah.
Arguably my favorite character in the movie, but also just my favorite behind-the-scenes story. This is pretty common knowledge now at this point, but he's been trying to get this movie. He's been trying to be Gambit for like 20 years. Like, he's wanted to play this character. He prepared to play this character. He was signed on to play this character at one point, and it all just fell through. It never happened. And to take, again, this is another example of using the meta knowledge of all this really well in the movie, where he was like, I'm not sure if I was ever actually born. I might have been born down here. Just because it was in development hell for so long.
Yeah. He's like never done anything. He's just excited to do something for once. Poor Gambit.
I know, but I mean, hey, Kevin, I'm calling you out on a first name basis. If you ever do want to make that Gambit movie, I think now's the time. Strike while the iron's hot.
That's what I would talk to him about if he hit me with his car. I'd talk to him about Gambit, and then I'd sue him.
Sue him if he didn't do it.
Sue him if he did. But yeah, Gambit, I think, like, rightfully took the internet by storm. So I would love if we did get something Gambit-y in the future. But yeah, just like, that was the one where the day before I heard people being like, wouldn't it be so cool if this happened? And I'm like, why? And that's when I learned about the whole backstory of all that stuff. And then it happened.
And he was perfect. He was
perfect.
Perfect. If nothing else, I feel like everyone is universally on board.
Yeah.
With Channing Tatum as Gambit. Again, because you can feel, anytime he talks about Gambit, you can feel the love there. And sometimes to a fault. Like, I remember a few years ago, he talked about how he refused to go watch any superhero movie because the heartbreak of losing something he worked so hard on.
Oh.
He had that Cajun accent in his back pocket because he worked on it. He prepared to. There was a movie that was going to be made and it never got made. So I'm really happy that we finally got to see that. And I think in this case the cameos worked with the story. I mean, and then obviously, you know, you had that connection between Daphne Keane, X-23, and Logan as well, you know, and Wolverine.
Yeah.
You get that back. I don't know, like, I feel like it all worked within this story, and it added to it, and it wasn't just like, I'm going to show you all this stuff.
I feel like, especially coming after Loki, if you were exposed to Loki and the what do they call it, the
TVA?
Yeah, but where they prune everything.
Oh, the Void.
The Void. If you were familiar with the Void, and then in this Deadpool movie they went to the Void and there's no cameos, that would have been weird.
Right.
And I know in Loki only like talked to himself in the Void, except for Throg. Throg was there, but like, yeah, it lended itself so well to do that, so why not?
Right. And before we wrap it up, I think the one thing that I would agree with people's criticisms, well, one of the things, I'm sure there's things I could nitpick, but I do think that the story, when we're thinking of its like themes and of course the meta nature of it all, I think actually helps this movie. I do think that our villain gets a little lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a tough villain to do because when you have someone who's crazy OP, it's hard to keep them around and not have them be a constant threat, you know?
Yeah.
So I do think that, and I thought they did well. I'm blanking on the actor's name. Emma Corrin?
That sounds so right.
Emma Corrin?
That sounds so correct.
I was right.
Yeah.
And I think they were fantastic.
I agree.
As our villain.
Their fingers. Their long fingers.
But yeah, I think that was a tough one to do and to keep around. Like
you said, it's like they're so powerful, you can't, if you're going to keep them around, that needs to be like a phase final boss.
Right.
Because they're so powerful. And this was a concern I had after the movie I told you about. It feels weird, though, to have them there for only one movie.
Right.
Because they're so powerful. How were they bested?
Right.
In one movie. That's not like a team-up movie. Well, kind of is a team-up movie, but you know what I mean. It just feels almost like unrealistic.
Right. So that would be like my
biggest gripe.
The biggest gripe with the movie that I have is just that. But if anything, it's on brand with a lot of other Marvel movies where the villain's kind of the weak link, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I enjoyed what we had. I also think that our secondary villain was it Mr. Paradox? Mm-hmm. I thought he was fucking funny.
He was funny.
I thought the use of music in this. There's so much that I liked about it. Also didn't like that some of our OG Deadpool characters got really reduced.
Yeah.
I get it. I do. And I think they were used well for what we saw them for. But, I mean, just being a fan of the first two movies, it's like,
Vanessa had maybe 3 lines.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But, hey, get that Marvel bag, sis.
That Marvel money, I guess.
But overall, I think this movie, and this is what I think some people, not everybody, because, again, it's highest grossing rated R film of all time, still in the top 3 in the box office right now, I think. So I don't think people are going out of their way to bitch about this movie too much. But I think something that is slightly, I hope more people look at this part. I think this is like a love letter and send off to the Fox Marvel era.
Especially with the end credits. Yeah, that's exactly the feeling I got.
The good, the bad, the ugly of it all. Like, a lot of what we got just in superhero content out there would not be possible had we not gotten that first X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Had those movies not been a hit. And it set up the stage. Like, even if you didn't like the 2005 and 2007 Fantastic Four movies, we wouldn't have Chris Evans as Johnny Storm in this movie had we not had. So, like, it all works together, right? And I loved seeing all the clips from in the credits from all those behind the scenes things. Especially, it's weird seeing Hugh Jackman so young.
Yeah.
He looks great. I mean, he's in amazing shape, right? So that was cool. I really love that. But the true star of the whole movie was Peter and his apparently giant Peter in that Deadpool costume. I didn't notice that when watching the movie. I didn't see it until I saw a picture after the fact.
And it's funny because I was like, that's the first thing I noticed.
Oh, we saw what's her name? B15?
No.
B12.
No, was it B12?
You need a shot, B12.
I don't think it's. Hold on, let me. Maybe it is. Is it B15?
I thought it was B15 because I said the B52s at first.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a band.
true. Hunter B15. That sounds right?
Yeah, B12 is a fictional boys band from American Dad.
I think you're right. Let's just go with B15 because my internet's not working.
You don't know how to work Google?
My internet's not working.
Oh, now mine's not working.
Damn. What the heck's going on?
I'm a bitch.
We're being filtered by the government. The government is telling us not to Google Hunter B15, who I hope in a future Deadpool
Hunter B15, yeah.
Okay. I hope in a future project is married to Peter, because that would be so funny if Peter just like tumbled his way into being married to like someone so high up in the TVA, possibly the leader of the TVA.
You just I could fully see Peter showing up in something else, working at the TVA, and he's like just by the coffee pot, just enjoying, trying to talk around the water hole, right?
Yeah. Oh, Peter.
But anyway, I really love this movie. I think it was fun, and I think audiences were ready for a movie that wasn't fun. that was just fun.
Yeah.
It was a popcorn movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Has some surprisingly heartfelt moments because I feel like that's Deadpool's thing, and it fits right in line with Marvel's thing. And it was just a movie people needed to see. But
I agree.
Anyway, so let us know what y'all think of frickin' Deadpool. Let's blaze through these next couple things.
Yes, we've spent 38 minutes talking about Deadpool.
I know, suing Kevin
and
Feige.
Yeah.
Kind of flipping over to the other side of the. We didn't even talk about. Let's hang on because this is gonna tie right into it, y'all. We saw the Cavalrine. The Cavalrine was in this movie.
The Cavalrine. I didn't even. I was like, okay.
I just thought it was big,
that was
buffed
crazy.
up, like Hugh Jackman. Like I didn't even think anything of it. And then when because we only saw his fucking back. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, I'm still trying to figure out why he was there.
Oh, because it was funny.
I guess it was pretty funny. He's just like, oh, and then Deadpool was like, we'll treat you much better than they did down the street or something like that,
Yeah.
which is funny. Do you think that's a soft launch into Henry Cavill coming over to Marvel to do something Marvel-esque?
I don't know. I mean, he's in the MCU now, so
Technically, yes.
legally, yeah. No, I doubt it, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it.
I wouldn't be mad at it. Hey, listen. My man needs to catch a break. They're doing him so dirty. And because DC did Henry Cavill dirty, now I have to see that one other Hemsworth as The Witcher. No, thank you.
I'm not even gonna watch it.
I'm not even gonna watch it.
I'm not even gonna witch it.
Oh my gosh, there's a spider crawling behind you. He's on the other side of your Dragon Ball. Do you see him?
Yeah.
Sorry if y'all saw that.
Live to die another day, guy. Anyway, so speaking of being down the street,
He fits. Actually, he fits with the decor. There's so much Spider-Man,
he
and
said,
now
my brethren.
that's how all animals talk to us.
That's for another episode.
That's
We'll
a
talk
whole
about
other
the
fucking
lore,
thing.
the lore of animals in this household. Anyway, on the DC side of the street, we just got done watching the new Batman animated series, Batman Caped Crusader. Kendra wasn't even sure she was going to watch this with me, and lo and behold, what happened, Kendra?
I loved the freaking Caped Crusader. Listen, I'm not a Batman gal. I've seen
You kind of are, though, is the thing.
by association.
You're like a pre-Batman girly.
Okay, I haven't blossomed into
Right.
into a Batman girly. So I did see Holy Musical Batman. Let's lay the groundwork
I haven't
there.
even seen the whole thing of that.
It's fantastic. I watched the
No, fuck you.
Exactly. I watched the Dark Knight trilogy.
You saw the
and
Batman.
That was, I saw the
Wait,
Batman. in there.
hang on. What?
I liked it. I just felt like there was such a peak with,
The Dark Knight.
sure. Is that the one with,
The Joker.
yes.
Yeah.
And then the rest were like, okay.
Okay, well, Batman Begins is fantastic. I won't take it. I get if people don't like The Dark Knight Rises, but I won't take slander for the first two.
I don't remember it. I remember the one with the Joker in it. And then, of course, I saw the Batman.
Oh my god.
Of course I saw the Batman. That's the one Batman movie I've seen like 3-4 times. Came out a year ago or something. Love that one. But yeah, so I'm like, Batman's okay as a character. I personally don't idolize. Just kidding. I was going to say I don't idolize rich white men. Tony Stark is the love of my life. So unfortunately that would have been a lie. But it's just like, it never really been my thing. So especially like even growing up, I watched animated stuff. Animated stuff was never like my jam. My preferred way to consume TV was like live action, mostly sitcoms because I was a kid.
You're That's So Ravens.
You're That's So Ravens, your Lizzie McGuire's, your Hannah Montana's, not so much your Proud Families, not so much your Kim Possibles. If I did watch anything animated, I watched like Cartoon Network stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, there was like there's nothing there to signal that I would really, really enjoy the Caped Crusader.
Right.
And it was so entertaining and so fun to like sit down and watch. It did make me feel almost like a little kid again.
Yeah.
Sitting down and watching cartoons. But it was just like, they're quick episodes. I like that. They're like period pieces, basically.
Yeah.
And they're just fun. And you get to see like, again, you get to see Batman villains, but different.
Right.
And again, people can be as loud and angry as they want that the Penguin is a woman. I didn't know that we were all so concerned with the Penguin being a man. But guess what? This Penguin being a woman does not take away from Danny DeVito's whole career. You know what I mean?
Listen, most times I ever think about the Penguin is against my own will. Okay? He's
Yeah.
thrust upon me.
Who's sitting there being like, man, I'm so glad the Penguin is a man.
Oh man, they really did the Penguin right in this one, guys.
Yeah, so it was just cool seeing like new takes on things.
Yeah.
And it feels like, it kind of reminds me of Bridgerton, where it's like there are people of color around and they're not just being hate crimed all the time.
Right.
Because it's also like the 40s or whatever.
Yeah.
That's fun. And I will say the main reason why I like it so much is because whoever they have voicing Batman, don't show me any photos, it'll break my illusion. That voice, the Bruce Wayne voice is good. The Batman voice? Stop.
Kendra really just sat up here and said, spectacular, give me 14.
Give me fucking.
You want to know what I used?
Don't tell me what's in them. I sit long ways on the couch and I kick my little feet when we're watching the Cape Crusader. I love it so much.
You're on the phone talking about it afterward.
Did you hear what Batman said? It's so good.
Yeah, no, I was excited about this show. I'm so glad it found a home and was not just permanently shelved. Yeah. This show was produced for HBO Max, now called Max, but fucko.
They love to cancel shit over there and just bury it.
They love to fucking cancel and get tax write-offs and shit. But Bruce Timm, the creator of the original Batman animated series, worked on this. So it's not a sequel series. It's a completely separate series. It is sort of a spiritual sequel, I think. It's dark, it's gritty, it's a little more mature, and I mean, it's sort of like what X-Men 97 did for the X-Men animated series, where it like kind of aged up with its audience. This one does that, maybe not to the same extent, but it still does that. But it's all so new. Like they really like lean into the detective comics side of Batman. They set it in the 40s, so it is like a period piece. Everything Kendra was saying, and I just love the different takes on these characters, because again, like, we can sit here and watch the same thing over and over and over again, but we got all of these like sort of one and done episodes. It's like, I'll see you later, bad guy.
Yeah.
I know you'll be back next time. But it was cool. And there is sort of an overarching like storyline that kind of leads into the finale. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, every episode is pretty self-contained. Yeah. And it's like year 2, year 3 Batman. Like he's still pretty new.
Yeah.
And figuring this stuff out. So sometimes he does, get his ass kicked a little bit, right? And that's okay.
We all have our off days, guys.
That's right. I think there was only one episode that we were like, that one was a little wonky, but overall, I really, really like this show. I'm glad it found a home. I think it would have been a real shame. And it's fucking egg on David Zaslav's face, because the show was #1 for like a week and a half on Amazon. So clearly people were watching, were interested in it.
Yeah.
Where he was like, oh, I don't know about this animated stuff. They just fucking... Anyway, I hate what they're doing with animation over there. There's actually a new Looney Tunes movie that not Acme versus Coyote, which is like their live action animated hybrid movie, which apparently everyone loved, but they who was attached to that?
There was an actor.
Wasn't that Will Forte?
Will Forte.
I thought he was in it. But there was a few big names to it, and apparently, like, test audiences loved it. It left people in tears, and they shelved it because they couldn't find a home for it, and they didn't want to release it. So that's annoying. Batgirl, they shelved that. Yeah. But there's a new Looney Tunes movie that's like a sci-fi, like it's a animated feature. It's the first ever fully animated feature for the Looney Tunes. And I was like, that doesn't feel right.
I guess they're always hanging out with human people.
Right. But they did find a distributor, and it's going to be released in theaters. So that's pretty cool.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Right. No, that's a done deal. That's a done deal. Good. Anyway, so yeah, fuck those guys over there. I'm glad the show got got a home. And Batman Cape Crusader, loved it. Hope we get a season 2 sooner rather than later.
If you're put off by, because I know in the beginning that it had like 3 stars or something on Amazon, don't be put off by the ratings.
The review bombs.
Yeah, you know what I feel about ratings and reviews. Don't listen to them. A lot of people really, really wanted to, I don't know, fuck Penguin when he was a man. Listen, and I don't know what you guys are doing in your free time, but you just seem really concerned that Penguin is a woman now, and you know, some people might not be white.
Here's the thing, and I'm just gonna come right out and say it. She was kind of thick.
I will say
a lot of these bad guys, they was really putting Batman through it.
If you love thick women, this might be the show for you. They're animated, but they're there aplenty.
Did you see Harley Quinn? Like,
yeah, someone on that animation team loves thick women, and it shows.
And I want to shake your hand.
I want to give him a raise and a coffee. Yeah, I think I could cosplay as Montoya pretty successfully.
I could cosplay as a short version of that one cop. Bullock.
No, you didn't have to say that. No, that's self-deprecating. You could be Pennyworth.
I'm not that tall. He's tall.
You be Pennyworth.
That was another thing. I loved Batman's relationship with Alfred in this show. It was different than...
We saw it evolve
in
front of our eyes.
He very much kind of treated Alfred as the help.
Yeah, which is
for
fucked.
A while.
That's crazy that he did that.
Until, you know, he finally was like, damn, like, Batman don't exist without you, Alfred.
Truly. And Alfred said, yeah, I've been trying to tell you that for 20 years.
Yeah.
Check your privilege, literally.
It's a great show.
I will also say, sorry, last thing. If you're like me and you're maybe still a blossoming, not quite there Batman fan, because it's set year 2 or whatever, it's really easy. It almost feels like introductions to these characters, even the bad guys. Like, some of them you'll know. Like, when Harley Quinn's on the screen, you're like, that's Harley Quinn. Yeah, I know that one. But, like, we're getting, like, backstory and these introductions to these characters. So even though it's kind of, like, intimidating to jump into something that's had so much out there, it definitely feels easy to jump into. Like, I'm not in over my head and I don't understand, like, who these characters are and how they all relate to each other. Like, it's an easy one to jump into. So
right. I completely agree.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, because we're running out of time here.
Hey.
That's right. And if we have to, it's fine. It's fine. I do want to touch on just a few of the big announcements coming out of D23 that we're real excited about. We got lots of cool announcements coming from all areas. I think the most we heard from, or the things, at least for me, that I got most excited about was out of the world of Marvel, obviously. You know, some of the new movies we heard about. And then, of course, something we both really got excited about was some of the things we got really excited about was the park announcements.
Stuff, yeah.
So I'm just going to run down some of the things I think we're both really excited about, or just we found super interesting. They're back, baby. When I say they, I mean all of them, apparently. Incredibles 3, Toy Story 5, Zootopia 2. I feel like there's one more that I'm missing out on, but that's okay. Incredibles 3, I'm so down for. I love the Incredibles movies. The Incredibles is still one of, like, I think people don't think about it because it's an animated movie or it's a Pixar movie. The first Incredibles, one of the best comic book movies, but one of the best superhero movies.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna come out and say it. I don't care that you broke your elbow. Oh. Toy Story 5.
Toy Story needs to end, I feel. I think
Toy Story of the Blue Light Kids.
Oh yeah, it's about, like, iPad kids. Yeah, I feel like Toy Story should have ended after Toy Story 3.
Listen, I'm excited. I haven't even seen Toy Story 4.
I haven't seen it either.
But I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Did they announce a Frozen 4? I didn't know that.
Frozen 3.
Yeah, but you wrote plans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were like, Frozen 3 is coming in 2027, and eventually there'll be a Forzen, if you will. So.
Yeah, we also have the Frozen Broadway Pro Shot coming to Disney Plus. I thought that's really cool. Bring back more Pro Shots.
Love a Pro Shot.
And then, of course, we heard about, you know, we got some more insight into Moana 2, Snow White, Freaky Friday 2.
Freakier Friday is what it's going to be called. I didn't just make that up.
I like the original. I guess I've seen it once.
I loved the original. Freaky Friday is a fantastic film. you need to see it more than once. That's kind of crazy that you've only seen it once. But did we need a Freakier Friday? Again, you heard me say, just because you make a remake doesn't mean that the first one's gone forever.
That's right.
I still do believe that. I'll watch Freakier Friday.
Manny Jacinto's going to be in it.
I'll definitely watch Freakier Friday.
But apparently he's supposed to be married to Lindsay Lohan in this movie.
Yes.
And like, wait, are you going to tease that she's going to leave Manny Jacinto for Chad Michael Murray?
No.
Sorry, not to catch a stray. My birthday twin, Chad Michael Murray.
Oh my God.
But
no, Chad Michael Murray, I feel, was more interested in her mom.
Manny Jacinto. Oh, he was really into her mom.
He liked her when she was her mom.
I mean,
so we'll see.
I don't blame him.
What happens with that?
Tron Ares. The thing I'm most interested about this movie, one, Jeff Bridges back, hell yeah, but also the music's being done by Nine Inch Nails.
What the fuck?
Because a couple of those guys became they're real big film composers now.
Okay.
They were in that band.
Okay.
But they're not doing it as Reznor and
film composers. They're doing it as Nine Inch Nails.
They're doing it as Nine Inch Nails. I was like, that's. I feel like you need people from the '90s to appreciate this.
Yeah.
Monster Jam starring The Rock. Take that for what you want.
We have no other details. It's Monster Jam.
That's
and
it.
The Rock is doing it.
Andor season 2, spanning 4 years of Andor's life leading up to Rogue One.
This is the second and final season
Yes.
of Andor. If you haven't seen Andor,
What the fuck are you doing?
what the hell are you even doing? And if you watch Andor and you're like, oh, this is really boring, it's so slow, read a book, because there's an intelligence factor there. No, I'm just kidding. But
no, I'm going to say that. Andor is... It's not even... It's prime television. It's not even just...
political drama. It's not fun Star Wars Gallivant. You know what I mean?
Nothing else in Star Wars has made me care about Mon Mothma more than Andor.
I love Mon Mothma.
We are Mon stans.
Mon
mother, more like.
Good God.
We got a little sneak peek at... Sort of a sneak peek. Just detailed announcements for Mandalorian and Grogu.
Roku.
I said Grogu.
I know.
From the world of Marvel, they talked a lot about stuff we already knew was coming out. Agatha All Along, Fantastic Four First Steps. They did talk a little bit more about Ironheart, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. That is happening still. That's
that is
great.
Happening. It will be released in 2025.
Yeah.
But Daredevil Born Again. So it's been mum's the word on this fucking show for the last 6 months. And everyone's like, is that they're filming? They're working on it. When is the show coming out? Mm-hmm. Well, we learned it's coming out next March. And not only is the show coming out next March, they're already working on season 2.
Whee!
Which I'm like, holy shit, give me more. And something we actually talked about before some more of these details came out was how are they going to bridge this? Because it's not a direct season 4. Mm-hmm. But it's not connect. They have the main cast coming back. It's not the same.
Yeah.
They even have Homeboy who came back. He's coming back as the not the Punisher.
Bullseye. Wilson Bethel.
Oh, thank you. I saw Wilson. I thought I was going to say Wilson Fisk.
No.
Wilson Bethel's coming back as Bullseye, and he was the last villain we saw in season 3 of Daredevil. So
it seems like a continuation.
And now Vincent D'Onofrio was saying basically saying he loves to talk. That
it's not good for Marvel.
It's kind of be a continuation.
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna see how we connect everything.
Okay.
What does that mean? How are we all doing that? I'm excited about it.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So, yeah, we talk up and down about the Daredevil series from Netflix, the Marvel Netflix stuff in general, specifically Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Announced Donald Trump. If you can hear me, please announce Jessica Jones season 4. All right, real quick. Keep saying that.
Can I do the next one?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm only going to talk about the changes happening to the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando because we're in Florida.
That was me.
Oh my God, you scared me. I'm so scared. There's a lot of news announced for the parks all over the world, but let's focus on the big Disney World stuff. So in Magic Kingdom, we're getting the largest expansion of Magic Kingdom to date. That's crazy. We're getting a new Cars Land coming to Frontierland. It's replacing Tom Sawyer's Island and the Rivers of America. If you care about that, you're the first I've heard. Because everyone else has been like, that's fine.
So you think that some people are like really upset and like,
get over it. Okay.
We how long have we been going and never set foot on there?
Never set foot because it's boring, and I get that it's like, oh, it's original, and again, my hair got stuck to my lip gloss. Replacing old stuff with new stuff doesn't make the old stuff, well, physically, yes, it is gone forever. But there's videos and documentaries on like the building of these specific parts of the park. Go watch those. You can't expect anything to stay stagnant. That's how you lose business. And Disney's a business. And they're on a big kick to put in more Disney property theming, right. Especially stuff aimed towards kids. Kids don't know what Tom Sawyer is. They don't know, and they don't care.
Right.
So, but they know. You know what they love? Lightning McQueen. So we're getting a new.
We all love Lightning McQueen.
Sorry, get over it. No offense. Sorry, I don't care. I'm more excited to get new stuff than I am about Tom Sawyer's Island being demolished. So that's where this new part of the park is going to be. We are getting 2 new attractions. One's going to be a thrill ride, and one's going to be more of like a family-aimed ride. I'm thinking of it kind of like Disneyland terms. They have the racers, whatever they're called, and then that like spinny one.
Right.
So it's kind of that makes sense to me in my head. And I think we're going to get something, again, Cars takes place like in a desert, right? Like in Nevada or something. So I think it makes sense to put it in Frontierland. It'll be very strange to see Cars, but I think I have faith in Disney to figure that all out.
Yeah.
Construction for that is estimated to begin early next year. And we're also getting a Villains Land behind or beyond Big Thunder Mountain. So it's a brand new area of the park. It's not like taking over something that already exists. And we're getting 2 major attractions, dining and shopping. No anticipated construction start date for that, but very excited for the Villains Land. This is something that they teased a little bit. They were like, well, we were maybe thinking one day to do this. It's confirmed. They're doing it. Very exciting, very exciting. We're also getting a new nighttime parade called Disney Starlight, and I think this is supposed to be like a spiritual successor to the Electric Light Parade. I think they still do that in Disneyland.
Oh, no.
But
the woke left. They have Starlight in their fucking parades now.
Gosh, shut up. Anyway, so I expect to see lots of bright, illuminated costumes. What are those things called? Floats. Yes. And last thing for Magic Kingdom, we're getting a new Pirates of the Caribbean themed tavern lounge coming in 2025. And I didn't hear anyone talking about this. I think, John, you mentioned people talking about this. If they're serving alcohol here, this is the first time we're getting alcohol in Magic Kingdom. I'm pretty sure. Because Walt Disney very explicitly was like, no alcohol in the parks. These parks are for families. We want everyone to be acting correct. And they were like, cool. And then they put it in Epcot, and then they put it in Hollywood Studios. Right. And now I think it's coming to Magic Kingdom.
There's a lot of money to be made there.
There's so much money to be made. And like, as someone who drinks alcohol, lots of fun. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see. But that is coming next year. And I think they've already actually started construction on that. If you go to Pirates of the Caribbean in Disney World, I think you can see some of that stuff starting to be done. Let's go to Animal Kingdom. Yeah. Dinoland. We knew it was dying, and it is officially dying. It's being replaced with a Tropical Americas area. This makes so much more sense. Listen, I love Dinosaur.
I know.
The ride. The things...
Flash photography? I wouldn't.
Flash photography? I wouldn't, yeah. But it's just so weird that we have, like, Africa, Asia, Dinoland, Pandora. It's like, what the fuck are we even doing? It makes so much more sense for this to be a geographical area and to theme it out to that. So we have 2 new rides coming in. We have an Encanto-themed attraction. From the art I saw, it was a carousel, but I don't know if that's 100% sticking.
So I did hear there is a carousel ride, or it's. I don't think it's a new attraction. I think they're just retheming something. So
like the spin,
yeah, I think that is going to be a carousel.
Okay.
Thing, but then they have an Encanto boat ride.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a dark ride.
And then they have the Indiana Jones ride.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they're replacing Dinosaur with a allegedly new Indiana Jones ride. They're saying this is unlike any Indiana Jones ride that has ever... Okay, I think it's going to be Disneyland's Indiana Jones ride, which is already using the same track as Dinosaur, and it'll just be a different storyline. But I think it's going to ride the same as the Disneyland version, if you've been on that. Construction for that will begin later this year with an anticipated opening date of 2027. Ew, that's so far in the future. There's a new Zootopia show coming to the Tree of Life Theater. It will be replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug. It's anticipated to open in winter of 2025. So go see It's Tough to Be a Bug while you can. I don't know when that will be ending. I don't know if the new Zootopia show is going to be like a 4D show, like It's Tough to Be a Bug is. But that'll be cool. And yeah, Zootopia makes so much more sense. I mean, It's Tough to Be a Bug makes perfect sense, but Zootopia makes sense in Animal Kingdom. And again, kids don't know Bug's Life as much.
Like,
because it's 30 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love A Bug's Life.
I love Bug's Life.
But that means that we're fucking old.
We're old.
So they don't know Bug's Life as well as we do.
Bug's Life came out in like 1998.
Yeah. So as much as I love it, I get it.
I get it. Hollywood Studios. We're getting a Monsters, Inc. land. Monsters, Inc. This is one of the ones where I'm like, why Monsters, Inc.? I get that it's like really popular, but it just feels weird to me. This feels like a change they should have made in like 2006. Anyway, we're getting a Monsters, Inc. land, and with that, we're getting Disney's first suspended roller coaster. Construction for that slated to begin next year, and we're unsure of where this land is going. There are two big schools of thought on this right now. Some people think that it's replacing the Muppet area of Hollywood Studios and Muppet Vision 3D, obviously. And that was my first feeling as well. But then I learned Muppet Vision 3D is the last thing that Jim Henson worked on before he died. And I don't know if they would get rid of that.
Right. It's like a legacy piece.
Yeah. And apparently there's a lot of logistics stuff for the cast members there. So now I'm more convinced it's going to go where the Star Wars launch bay is now.
And the Disney Junior thing.
And the Disney Junior. I think that makes more sense. That area is dead.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Get rid of it. We already have... Star Wars is scattered all over this fucking park. Let's contain Star Wars to be all right here. There's no reason that the meet and greets have to be in a whole other area of the park. And honestly, it's probably quite confusing for people who walk all the way to Galaxy's Edge to meet Darth Vader. And they have to walk all the way back to the beginning of the park. So that makes more sense to me. I think they have the space for it there. It's dead. Let's revitalize that. So we'll see where they announce that to be.
Build more shade.
Put trees in that park. That park is so sweltering hot. And also in Galaxy's Edge, they're adding new Mandalorian-themed missions to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run in 2026. That is timed around when Mandalorian and Grogu comes out in theaters. So it's going to be like a tie-in. And also we saw new walk-around droids that I know have already been being tested in Disneyland, but I think they're coming to Hollywood Studios as well, which will be fun. That's something we were promised when they announced Galaxy's Edge, and it never came to a lot of stuff that they announced before Galaxy's Edge opened actually didn't end up happening.
Well, you know how like when the special editions of Star Wars came out, George Lucas was like, well, listen, I always wanted that stuff there, but I didn't have the technology. It didn't exist yet. So now I'm doing it. So it's kind of like seeing that manifest, you know?
It's kind of like that, except for the technology did exist and they just didn't do it because it cost more money. Anyway, going over to Epcot, Test Track is reopening in 2025. For those who don't know, Test Track is closed right now. I saw that face that John made. He does not like Test Track. But it's not like revamped. It's not rethemed. Well, it is revamped. It's not rethemed. It's still going to be, I think, Chevy. But I think they're changing, like, the aesthetic of it. I don't know if they're changing the ride cars or the ride. They can't really change the track. So we'll see when that reopens next year. And there's going to be a new lounge inspired by my favorite Epcot ride, Spaceship Earth. It was announced, no opening date announced as of yet, but how very exciting. I hope it smells like when Rome is burning. Yeah.
You know what I think they need to do is, I think to make it an authentic experience for this new lounge, they need to have all the ordering should be done via the special Spaceship Earth Lounge app, and the app needs to crash 3 to 4 times every visit.
Yeah, when you go, like, you simply can't. Or what if you had to ride the ride to order your drink?
Oh,
you order it like.
Well, hang on. That's a good idea. Ordering your stuff right there on the little screen. Mm-hmm. They need to do something with that. Well, here's my thing.
I love Spaceship Earth, and I cannot handle any criticism about Spaceship Earth.
No. I like it. I like it a lot. And here's the thing. On the one hand, it's a great way. The rides are the wait times are usually short.
Yes.
So you get right on the ride. It's a great way to beat the heat.
Yes.
And it's a fun little ride, and that is kind of like riding a piece of history, right?
Literally.
But
literally. Why
does it break down so much? Why does it break down so much?
It breaking down is part of the fun. Listen, I think it's my serious answer is that the moving platforms at the beginning of the end really trip people up. And especially if someone's like, if someone isn't a good like walker, or they have trouble with like depth perception, or just going from propelling yourself to being propelled on a walkway, it's really jarring, and I think it freaks people out. I think that's why it slows down and stops occasionally.
That makes sense. I thought it was just the technology.
I don't think, but also it could possibly be the technology.
It's an old ride.
But it's still, that's part of it. When you like get stopped and you're next to one of the scary animatronics that like look at you in your eyes and there's nothing you can do, you're just stopped. That's part of the fun.
Yeah. But,
and then every once in a while you think like, is this animatronic that is only looking up and down, is it going to turn and look at me in my eyes?
When are we going to get Night at the Museum Magic Kingdom?
Let's hope never. What do you mean by that?
I want a Night at the Museum movie.
To take place in the park.
Yes. And at night, the things in the park come to life. The country bears, the Pirates of the Caribbean.
No. Well, Haunted Mansion, we kind of saw what that would be like in the Haunted Mansion film.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, listen.
That would be, if Disney did that, that would be, think of all the properties that they could pull from.
That's what I'm saying.
That'd be crazy, and also fucking terrifying.
It'd be like Fortnite, but in a movie. Because there's all these random, you see like Mike and Sully from fucking Monsters, Inc., but also Jack Sparrow. Like, all these different characters.
Jack Sparrow wouldn't be so bad because he's a human man. The country bears specifically, that really freaks me out. I don't like thinking about. Oh, Country Bears also, by the way, this isn't part of D23 because it already happened, but Country Bears was recently completely redone, and they now sing Zootopia songs. They sing other songs, but they are singing Zootopia songs. A lot of people were very upset by that.
Get fucked. There was something else. Oh, sorry. And this last bit of my Night at the Museum pitch for this movie. What if they go down like into the vault of like old forgotten like animatronics and costumes and stuff that come to life?
That's scary. Like the Small World kids just be stepping on them the whole time.
I've created the best horror movie for Disney.
That's so scary.
Anyway, all that to say, thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of Ringside. If you haven't already, please follow us on all the things, all the socials, the TikToks, the Instagrams, the YouTubes, the Threads. Once every 3 months that I post on Threads.
I forgot about Threads.
Yeah, follow us along to see whenever we're up to something. We do have another pre-preview coming up in just a couple of weeks for WWE's Bash in Berlin. We didn't even talk about WWE today, but we simply don't have the time.
Roman Reigns is back. That's all you need to know.
OTC. My tribal chief. Your tribal chief.
All of our tribal chiefs.
He's back. We the ones. But we'll be talking about Bash in Berlin and what we think is going to happen, make our predictions, all that jazz, chat with you all, hopefully. And from there, I think that's all we got.
Yeah,
I think that's
all
we
got.
got.
I'm sleepy.
You're
and my
sleepy?
voice is shot, if you couldn't tell.
Oh, try teaching for a week.
Shut the hell up. You went to voice school.
I went to
You went to sing and dance school. You should be well versed. You shouldn't tear your throat open. Week 1?
I didn't.
I did.
Okay, well, all right. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time. Bye. Peace.